Akeeba Backup can do more than just backup your Joomla website. It can also backup files and sites that exist above your web root. There are two occasions where you may do this. If you have a downloads folder that you are protecting by keeping above the web root, you want to make sure you back that up as well. You may also have installed an additional website, perhaps a subdomain for a forum like this, and you want to make sure that in your Akeeba backup you include the forum as well as the Joomla site. If we scroll down, we can see there are two options for including data in the backup, one for databases and one for directories. To begin with, let's look at the databases, so select Multiple Databases Definition. Here we can add the details of the additional databases that we want to back up. We do not need to give any information for our Joomla website database, as this is automatic. Click on the small plus icon and a pop-up opens asking for the connection details for your database. You should have this from your web host. First, enter the database driver, the hostname, the username, the password, and finally the name of the database you wish to back up. Click on Test Connection. When you have a success message, click Save. You've now configured Akeeba Backup to include this additional database in your backup. We now want to include the files, so let's return to our control panel and select the Offsite Directories inclusion. Again, click on the small plus icon and then click on the folder icon. Here we can see that we have in our hosting account three folders: Downloads, where I am storing the offsite downloads, Forum for my PHP forum, and Public HTML, which is where my current Joomla website is installed. If I want to include the Downloads folder, simply select it and then select Use and click on the Save icon. Let's repeat that for the forum by clicking on the plus, Browse, selecting the forum and selecting Use, and finally Save. Now we have added our external database for the forum and our two folders for the downloads and the forum itself. Let's go back to the control panel and perform our backup. Once the backup is complete, go to Manage Backups and download it to your computer. We're now ready to look at the restoration process of this Akeeba backup. I'm going to use my FTP program to connect to a new server where I'm going to restore this backup. I'm using FileZilla, but you could use any FTP program to connect to the new server. As you can see, my new server has a public HTML folder where my website would live, and if I navigate in, you can see that it is empty. Let's take the backup file and copy that across to our new server. Finally, let's take our kickstart.php file and copy that across as well. Now, let's return to our web browser and complete the restoration. Go to the special URL for the kickstart.php file, close this message and begin. We can see it has selected the archive file, and we can let the Akeeba Backup Kickstart program extract the files to our web server. Once that is completed, we can run the installer. As with all Akeeba Backup restorations, the installer checks that our server is suitable, and then we can click Next. We are now ready to restore the site's main database, the one for your Joomla website. Click Next to continue. Here we have an additional screen. We can see here that this screen is to set up the extra database, the one for our PHPBB forum. So here, make sure you enter the correct details for the forum and not the Joomla website, and click Next. the installer is now ready to install your Downloads folder to above the web root. Click Next and the files will be copied, and do the same again for the Forum folder. Finally, complete the rest of the site setup for your Joomla website as you would do normally. The final step is to remove the copy of the external folders from inside our public HTML web space. To do this, return to FileZilla. Here we can see that the Forum and the Downloads folders were successfully copied, and if we go into the public HTML where our Joomla website is, we can see a folder called External Files. We no longer need this folder, so we can delete it. So, by using the multiple database definitions and the off-site directories inclusion feature, we can use Akeeba Backup Professional to not only back up our website, but to back up all the other websites within our hosting as well.